Greetings, my friends. We're going to make some coasters today using my cool little sugar skulls, and I put a link on there for you to find it on Facebook. It's a really cool site, and I think you'll really enjoy using this. So let me show you what I did. I've got several molds in the oven, and I made them a way that I'm going to show you in a minute. But the first step in this is to go ahead and pour your resin, because you're going to want that to be setting up a little bit while you're fiddling around with your sugar skulls. And the way you do that is to mix up 2-part resin, or if you get the ice resin, it comes in kind of a plunger pack that's already side by side and mixes as it's dispensed. The kind I've got today is this kind, Amazing Clear Cast. It's been pretty good. I've done a lot of experiments with it. So what you need to do is measure this exactly, and really this is the only part of the little operation that has to be perfect, because it's very hard to get your resin to set up if it's not measured properly at the outset. Another good tip that you're really going to want to do is I put these in warm water before I begin. I put them in there for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes when I was setting up this shot, because if it's a little bit warm, it mixes up a lot better and catalyzes a lot better. And the only real failures I've had have been with a cold day like we have today, which outside here there's a little blizzard outside my window. But in cold conditions and certain other damp conditions, you can have your resin set up partially, and that's pretty much wasted. You got to throw it out. So what you have is warmed up catalyst and warmed up resin. I'm going to measure them, and I'm going to do it on this paper towel, and I've got my little cup here. So what I need to do is make sure that my measurements are correct, and the cup I'm using is a NyQuil cup, and I like this one because of the markings that it has. These come with measuring cups, so you're going to want to look into what you want to use. So I want 15 milliliters. I already measured these containers, and the way I did that was just to get some water and put it in here halfway and put it back in here, and now I know how much I'm going to need. So I'm going to go in at 7.5 milliliters, it's marked right here, and I'm going to fill that halfway with my resin, and then I'm going to go up to the 15 mark and fill it the rest of the way with catalyst. So you see that you kind of stop pouring before you get to your mark, to let it raise up a little bit, okay? And you know, I say exactly, you know, obviously you do the best you can, but if you don't put that effort out, it won't even be close. So, you know, I mean, don't kill yourself, just do the best you can, just try to get it accurate. Same here, I'm going to pour this in, and I'm going to stop pouring just a little bit before it hits the top. I can always add more, but you can't obviously take any of it out. So you see, this isn't like rocket science, it's just watch your line, make sure it's correct. You don't want to do all this for nothing, right? Okay, and that's right at my line. So I'm finished with that part. The next part is to stir it up. This is true with all resins. And you need to stir it until it's no longer swirly. You know, I should have taken that a lot more seriously. I did some really big casts, and I thought, well, is that swirly? Is that not swirly? Is that unswirly enough? Dude, you gotta listen to what they tell you. It can't be swirly looking anymore. So if you were closer, you know, or had your little face in it like I do, you would see that it's got these kind of, you know, wavy, swirly, shiny kind of quality to it. And that's what you don't want to have anymore. You want it to be as transparent as you can get it. You mix it left and you mix it right. It's supposed to go kind of slow to keep it from having any bubbles. I don't know. I'm not that worried about the bubbles. I kind of like the way they look. But, you know, if you really don't want to have bubbles, you could maybe stir it very slowly. I found out that carbon dioxide is effective in popping bubbles. So when I do my pour, and I've got it the way I want it, I just breathe on it, you know, like you do with your glasses, you know, clean your glasses. I just breathe on it, and most of the bubbles rise to the surface and pop. Also, if you have, big gnarly ones, you can take a little needle and, drag them to the edge and pop them. But you'll see what you want to do. As I say, I'm not so anti-bubble that I'm going to lose sleep over that. Some people go over the top of it with, one of those lighters, like a fireplace lighter. I got one of those, but I haven't tried that yet. But I think that pops them also, as long as you don't, like ignite it. So this is nearly not swirly, and the reason it's gone this quickly is because I warmed it up. If I had not warmed it up, believe me, I would be swirling and unswirling and trying to get it to be clear until, hell froze over. So believe me, warming it up a little bit is the only reason I'm still using resin, because I really blew a lot of it. So put a little bit in here. I'm going to put a little bit in here. A little bit more in here. A little bit more in here. So what you're doing really is just putting some in each and making sure that it's coated. On most resin pieces, it's this huge deal that it doesn't be too thin, it'll break and stuff. But we're going to pour more on here, and we're not going to be so worried about whether it's thin right now, okay? So I'm just going to take it and make sure that it's coated the bottom of my container. These are the caps from little peanut cans, but you can use Pringles tops. You can use, I've made some really neat mobiles using like Crystal Light tops. Those are a nice shape. And then like the Walmart Crystal Light is rectangular tops. Those are really cool. And then here's some sour cream tops in another peanut can. So, if you're making mobiles or sun catchers and stuff like I have been doing for Polyform and for a couple magazines, otherwise I'd show them to you, but I can't show them to you. But if you're making different things you're going to maybe hang in the window or something, look around you. You'll see some really cool things to use. I've even made great big ones with coffee can lids. Okay, so we're going to make our little skull, guys, and I'll show you how I did it. I tried all kinds of experiments. I tried making some and then putting the mica powder on top, and but I wanted it to be on both sides because those little coasters are going to be clear. I also tried doing designs on one side, like with a texture sheet. That wasn't bad. That was pretty good. But one thing I always like to do is go ahead and cast them once and remove them, and then use that piece to recast, because I don't want to be trying to cut off excess material or add excess material at this point, okay? So you're going to want to do it maybe, a different way, but that's what I decided to do, and that worked out for me. I've got a bunch of mica powder here. I really like it. This is all Christy Friesen, all these neat colors in the small amounts. And the small amounts are really effective if you're into polymer clay, because most of us aren't making, a giant suit of armor or something. We're making something pretty small, and we need a lot of variety, but not a lot of the actual powders. So these are really neat. These I came upon, they're by Eberhard Faber, and you may be able to get them. I'm not sure where I got them, but I kind of used everything today because I wanted to try it all out. This is my very favorite. This guy's in the oven. This Depth by Christy Friesen comes out to be like a gunmetal color, like the hematite type color, which I love. And this is the hematite glitter, and we're probably going to use a little bit of that in the design in a minute. Okay, so that's the powder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some right into the mold. And as I say, I tried all kinds of things, and this was so far the one I liked the best. You need mold release if you're going to take them out before they're cured. And you can use water for mold release and all these different things. But I figure if you're going to put mica on it and you don't want to rub the design out of it and ruin it, may as well just put the mica in there. And that worked out really well. So I'm going to put him in. He's already been cast once, but it's no big deal because it'll take the design again. I know because I tried it. I'm going to squeeze him in there pretty well, and yet he's not going to stick bad because we got our mica. And now I can start to, without ruining my design, put some gold on the back because the back's going to show. And as I say, these steps are done in this order because, you know, a couple times I casted them, or cast them, I guess you'd say, and then I tried to add the powder, or else I cast them with the powder and then tried to add the mica after they were out, which means I was holding it too tight and I was mashing the face in, you know. Took a little bit of trial and error. But if you do most of this while it's still in there, see, it comes out really nicely. You maintain the integrity of the features and stuff a little bit better. The mold peels off. Okay, so he looks really good, and you know, it looks better if you do it like this. And then you can go around the edges and kind of even them up. I trimmed some of mine with scissors, you know, some that were a little bit, that I did a little bit more sloppy than the others, and scissors works really well around these edges. So I'm going to take a minute, kind of get it down in there, make sure that I don't have too much of the white showing. This is a Primo Pearl, and I really like it. I just like the way it takes the mica powder. I generally like it. So that's all there is to that, and you get just a really deep shine and stuff on them. It's really cool. And I will bake it at 275 for 30 minutes. They need to be firm, but obviously, you know, we're not going to be like playing hockey with them or anything because they're going to be going inside the coasters. So I'm going to take some of my Christy Friesen Surface Effects glitter, and I'm going to start to blend it into here. Some people put their glitter into the resin before they start, but the thing is, I don't want all mine the same color, okay? So that's why I'm going to drop my resin into the molds after I've poured it in, okay? And I love, love, love this color. It's called Caribbean, and it's in one of her collections. I'll put a link there for you. But the reason I like it so much is, you know, most of the glitters I have every color Martha Stewart because my daughter gave it to me for a gift, and I just, you know, I love it. It's really nice. I use it a lot. And I thought about using it in this project because it's so pretty. But they're not iridescent. And these Christy Friesen glitters are, God, they're just really special. Like I can see turquoise and green and all these colors in this glitter. I'm not getting that out of the average glitter that I buy. So that's the reason that I recommend it. Okay, now don't make this a solid color. You don't want to go too overboard with this because even though it's really pretty, too much paint, which you can use in resin, too much glitter, any kind of inclusions that are just, you know, that are too much, cause the resin to not set up as well. So that's about the most glitter I think I'd put in this amount of resin. And I've got it about like I want it distributed that way. It's impossible to actually, you know, just pour in your glitter and have it be perfectly even. So plan to kind of stir it up a little bit and distribute it the way you want it to be. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. And I'm going to do the red in this one. My little guy's out of the oven. He's looking good. As I said, I love that gunmetal finish. And I'm going to put a little gold on him. You don't really want to use a paintbrush for this because you don't want it to go down in the crevices, okay? So it's just a little thing that's going over it. Just gives it a little bit extra pop. And doing the same thing with this purple one here. It just brings out some of the relief of the design. And just gives it a little bit more, you know, interest. And then I'm going to coat them with my Sculpey Gloss Glaze. And you want to keep this kind of thing around because Sculpey Gloss Glaze doesn't react poorly with almost anything I've used it with. I can even stick it back in the oven when I have to, after I glazed it. So it's nice to know you've got something that can take heat, that doesn't react with the clay, and that doesn't react with the resin, because you know, you may look long and hard for something like that. And I'm going to seal this up because I don't want any of my powder or my paint to shift at all when I put the rest of the resin on it. You want to coat both sides because you remember we've got a good amount of mica powder on the back of these, okay? So you fill up your little mold the rest of the way, and you just forget about it for a couple days. You know, I don't care how many people tell me it's ready in 12 hours, it's ready in 24 hours, forget it, and don't go in there and start touching it, because that's what I did. I felt like such a schmuck, you know, because I went in there and I was like, oh, they're ready, you know. Just leave it alone. Forget it for 48 hours. You got plenty of other stuff that I'm sure that you're doing. But give it a couple days and unmold it. And the way you unmold it is really just by breaking the section on these edges. A lot of people use mold release and stuff like that. I've had mixed results with it, so I avoid it unless I absolutely have to do it. But really the fingernail method is the best. Once you get that edges peeled and pulled back away a little bit, you'll see that it'll come out of the mold. And you can experiment with that a little bit. You can get silicone molds that are softer and more flexible. There's lots of stuff you can buy for making resin projects. I haven't done that because I'm really not in the resin making business. I'm all about the polymer clay. So I've used what I had on hand here. But you know, feel free to explore this. Probably a lot of things you're going to want to make and try. So see you next time. Bye-bye.